Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J-Dog.
Mike, we have the biggest NFL game in the regular season in history to talk about this week.
Whoa. Okay. Are we? I'm guessing Tom Brady against Belichick. Is that what we're talking
No,
about?
the Dolphins Colts is huge for both
Dolphins
teams.
Colts. Okay,
No,
that's what we're amped up for.
What do you think? Brady versus Belichick. We've never seen it.
We can talk about our best bets. I want to save that because I feel like we got a lot. There's a lot to talk about there. A lot to talk about. Well, I want to
Can we
talk
start
about
with
first.
some breaking news instead?
We can do breaking news. I had like other stuff to talk about. I wanted to talk about the Ryder Cup because I lost money. You told me to bet on it, stuff like that. But yeah, we can do breaking news. Boom, 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 boom. Breaking news. What do you got?
Oh, there's no iPad.
There's no iPad.
This is big. Tom Brady, we're going to talk about in best bets, but Brady and Gronk are returning to New England.
They are.
One of them is doubtful to play. I don't know if you saw
this.
Is
Gronk doubtful to play?
News. Gronk is doubtful to play. I think he's shying away from the return. It's unlike
no. He'll be fine. He's gonna play. I'm sure he'll
doubtful.
Be fine. He's a big old man, right? He's just getting beat up. He retired at one point.
He's not old. He's younger than us. What are we?
I know, but he retired from football at one point. So at that point, you have to be like, all right, clearly something's going on with his body. But
it's breaking news. We'll talk more on best bets.
First, I want to talk about Big Lou. I saw Big Lou. I had the pleasure of sitting and watching football with our mutual friend and Big Lou last weekend. Watched football. Avid listener and follows everything we do. And I apologize. Like we lost money for him if he was gambling on the Ryder Cup because he said take Europe, right? You said take Europe, J-Dog.
That's what I said.
I took
did
Europe.
He do it too?
I don't know. He was not in a good mood. I don't know if you watched that Pittsburgh game. It was not a good time to be over at the household and watch them watch football. It was
he's used to the Steelers losing games recently, so it should be nothing new for him. But what was it like to watch a game? Because the mutual friend, his son, that's enough to watch a series.
Oh, yeah.
That's plenty.
It was,
and you had his father too.
It was like a roller coaster. You get there, we're all drinking some mimosas and champagne. We're excited. The game's ticking down on Red Zone. We're about to watch it. Obviously, Red Zone was dedicated to a small iPad and not the main screen because that's what the Pittsburgh game was on. So just imagine a big screen, Pittsburgh, then a little screen, Red Zone, and then there's another little screen with the local feed. So there is like a mash of a setup. Started off great, excited about the game, and then it just kind of went downhill. Everybody is drinking a little. He was standing up watching the game. A lot of excitement out of them, but then it turned into kind of depression. Like, we need to get him out of here.
And this was the Bengals game. Like, they should have won this game, and they got blown out, actually, by the Bengals, which hasn't happened in many years. So I can imagine there's a lot of sadness there. I actually have a scandal around the Steelers to share coming up in Scandal City.
Ooh, I love it. All right, another thing. So Ryder Cup, what happened? You're like, always bet Europe. They're always better. And like the first day, I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Why is the U.S. dominating?
We kicked their ass. We blew their ass out. COVID changes everything. Teams like Tampa Bay Lightning and Tampa Bay Bucks can win championships during COVID. So things are a little off the rails. And that's what happened during this Ryder Cup. It was the first time in 3 years. It never happens, in that length of time. And the U.S. just crushed them. Europe has no good young golfers outside of John Rahm right now. They need to step up their game with the youngsters because the U.S. youngsters played amazing.
And why did it feel like the Ryder Cup was more like lax with rules? Like people were smoking cigars. Seemed like people were having a lot more fun at the Ryder Cup.
The fans or the players?
Well, it seemed like afterwards, the players were having fun. Like there were cigars and photos. Like what was going on? What's the vibe at the Ryder Cup? I've never watched. Obviously, I had to gamble to watch it. So I have no idea.
You should. Once you gamble on it, you should watch it. That's what makes you a non-degenerate and makes you like a sports fan too.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
If you watch what you bet on.
Yes.
So the Ryder Cup is pretty special. It's unlike anything else. It's the most exciting golf event. First of all, the fans are nuts. Like every other golf event, you get in trouble if you yell something. At the Ryder Cup, you're encouraged. You pick a side, whether you're European or the U.S., and you support them and you boo the other one. You talk shit about the other one. And it's just expected at the Ryder Cup. It's so different. And so some U.S. players were chugging beers on Saturday afternoon. It wasn't even over till Sunday afternoon, but they were chugging beers because they had a big lead. They weren't playing that afternoon, so the fans were throwing them beers and they were chugging them like you would see at a tailgate or like a Bills Mafia tailgate or something. So it was fun. I'm sorry I gave you bad advice, but U.S. won. I mean, we should be happy, patriotic about that.
Well, I was happy, but I did want. I was like, God, the Europeans looked a little old. Like that was the thing. Like all the young guys for the U.S. came up, showed up. and they just dominated. So
Well, we're used to the Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson era. That era changed during COVID. One of them
it
is
did.
over 50, and one of them nearly died in a car accident. So
Yeah.
we have the
Yeah.
young guys coming on the American side, and it's a new breed. And they didn't fail under pressure like so many American teams have done in recent years.
What do you want to do? You want to do Scandal City, or you want to do? I have some bullshit or believe we can jump into. What do you want to do?
Let's do bullshit or believe.
All right,
Don't
bullshit
get
or
choked up
believe
about it.
time. All right, bullshit or believe. Is it a good or bad move what the NBA is doing? They're mandating everybody get vaccinations. I know we don't want to talk political stuff here.
Oof,
This is an
okay.
organization. I personally like the move, but they're not going to be paying players if they are not vaccinated in their state. So like California, Golden State Warriors, if you're not vaccinated on that team, you can't play in the stadium, but you can play in other stadiums, which is kind of
It's
weird.
a little bit
but
like France, where if you're going to be in
Yeah.
like an indoor setting, you need to be vaccinated in California.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? move,
Well,
bad
you're
move,
putting me in a
bullshit?
bad spot
I
because
know.
the listeners, one way or another, they're going to come after me, right? We got listeners on both sides. Let me get my thoughts together on this one. Listen, we have new merchandise available
Oh my
for
God.
certain listeners.
We have
What's that
great
one about?
merch. Yeah, we can take a little moment for a little sponsorship. We have the J-Dog official officiant t-shirt for hire on the Sports Hangover. So you can go to sportshangover.com and you can get some awesome swag. We also have some other political stuff up there, which I didn't realize was very political until I actually
I didn't know
put
it was
the shirt up.
political till you made it, and we're just not going to
not
merchandise
even
that
mentioned.
one as up high on the page.
We
It'll be
won't
on, like,
push
page
that, but it might
31.
be it might be the
It might
best
be the
seller. Who
top
knows?
seller, yeah. They're rabid. Wow. Okay. So I think I would have said, well, obviously everyone should be vaccinated because that's what we're all doing. And I'm a proponent of the France rules, which we talked about when we came back from Europe and got me in trouble in the first place. But then I heard Jonathan Isaac from the Orlando Magic gave a very great 2-minute explanation on why he's not getting the vaccine. And it actually made sense to me. Now, how do we reconcile the idea of freedom of speech and freedom of your body and everything that these guys are saying who don't want the vaccine versus you could be potentially putting other players at risk because they will be exposed to these players and they could miss time after playing your team. And maybe LeBron doesn't want to play Orlando and Jonathan Isaac because LeBron is an old man and might get COVID and it might shut him down for a little bit. So I don't know how to reconcile that. I luckily don't have to make the decisions on that, but I see it from both sides as going to be me sitting on the fence of that one.
Yeah, it's a hard decision to make, but I think it's like best for the league. Like if you thought about it in the best way possible, it's like if you're vaccinated, guess what? We can play the games, and they did it with the NFL. It's like if COVID happens on your team, we're not moving your game. We're not pushing it to like a Tuesday or Wednesday. It's just like we move on. You forfeit the game. You lost that game. So I kind of like it in the stance of like it's more for the fans than anything. It's like we want this on TV, or maybe more for the money. I don't know.
Mike, one thing we know about the NBA is whether there's vaccines or not, or whether players are testing positive for COVID or not, they're still going to miss games. They're going to miss all the games anyway because they love their rest. So I don't know. This is like the league where it matters the least. Like NFL, there's only a few games. We need you out there every week. In the NBA, guys are missing 2 weeks for non-COVID, non-health issues. So really, it's a funny one to talk about. But we see it from both sides.
So this is another vaccine thing, but is it bullshit or believe? Will Kyrie play this year? Because he is very against the vaccine. And I even heard or read rumors that maybe they'll trade him away or he might sit out the entire season because
that's your team. Brooklyn is your team.
Brooklyn. I know. I don't know what they're doing, but I don't know if that big three is going to be there anymore because Kyrie might not play. He refuses to get it. And it is weird because they're getting paid so much, but Kyrie, like I would say, what would you say? A percentage of NBA players that are vocal about it, that are not getting the vaccine must be so low to the people that are vaccinated in the league, right? It's a very small minority of people that are unvaccinated playing. So it's weird how they get all the press. Like I read all these articles all about the unvaccinated players. And it's almost like we as the news outlet are giving more news about the non-vaccinated players saying like, oh, you can't do this. It makes it almost a bigger thing. Like if everybody said,
it's not a good headline when it says 95% of NBA players are vaccinated. No one's reading that article. When you see the quotes from Kyrie or Jonathan Isaac or some of these guys, you're going to click on the article. And that's a bigger problem with media. We could have a whole separate podcast, not a show, but a whole podcast branded about the media if we wanted to, because there's so much to unpack there. But this is what people are talking about. This is what we're talking about. So I'm not going to fault us or the media in that regard, because it's what the people want, and it's the clickbait. It's like that's what our headline of this podcast was, and someone definitely is listening to us now because of the podcast title, which reflected this. So it's all a chain of events.
Another one, bullshit or believe. Is it a good move for Apple TV to become the home of Sunday Ticket? I saw that thrown around. Seems like they have a lot of money. They could just throw money at it and get the Sunday Ticket. I want Sunday Ticket off DirecTV, but I don't know if Apple TV is the right place for it, because I don't know who would sign up for it.
Definitely after DirecTV. Apple TV is making a huge play in streaming. I think they have a huge slate of movies, original movies, like Hollywood movies that could be like Oscar winners with huge actors will be coming to Apple TV exclusively.
They got money. They got billions.
I think they have a lot of money. The tech companies do. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't at this point? I think their slate of series so far are questionable. Obviously, Ted Lasso is amazing. Outside of Ted Lasso, like Morning Show didn't do anything for me.
I liked Morning Show. I thought it was pretty good.
I haven't watched season 2. Did you watch season 2?
Yeah, I started it. It's like a good bad show, but the one I just started watching was called The Foundation. It reminded me, if you're a fan of Battlestar Galactica, reminded me slightly of Battlestar Galactica. So I would give it a shot. It's a lot to digest. Like, it unpacks all this stuff, and then you're kind of thrown into it. Once you get past the first episode, it's an hour long. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
I liked For All Mankind. I like the space stuff. They're doing more space stuff too. They're doing high quality. It's like less content, but more high quality content. That'd be great if anyone but DirecTV and Dish has Sunday Ticket.
So
it'd be amazing. And also, how about this? So for baseball, I'm a baseball fan. The Braves won the division last night. I paid for the MLB TV package. They could be playing in LA in a few weeks, and I'll be staying with you if they do. So now that all that's out of the way, I pay the MLB TV package to watch Braves games. I don't pay to watch all the games. And I think what NFL Sunday Ticket is going to become is that same option for NFL fans, where if you're a Steeler fan, you pay 1/30th of the price because you're only getting one team, but you're going to get all their games. And so that makes more sense for the consumer, and I think that's something that will happen soon too.
Well, I was watching the DirecTV Red Zone, and I did like how they would keep up 2 boxes or 3 boxes at a time on the screen, and they would slightly overlay them. Much better than the Hansen version, because Hansen usually goes to like quad box and all those boxes for a brief minute. Yeah, just for a brief second to be like, look at all the games, and then they go to one. They never show 2 games at the same time, and DirecTV did that. They showed 2 games with a guy with the big ears. I don't know his name, but
Andrew Siciliano. That's what he's known for. DirecTV also has a mix channel where you can watch all the games at once, or you can pick, like, if you want to watch 3 games at once, or 4 games at once, you can kind of manipulate what you want on one screen.
I like that.
Yeah. I have a bullshit or believe. Speaking of the Steelers, Najee Harris has been hit at or behind the line of scrimmage on 70% of his carries, which is the highest rate in the NFL. This is from Pro Football Focus. Bullshit or believe, NFL fans are smarter than Steelers decision makers who chose a running back instead of an offensive line in the first round.
So bullshit or believe, fans are smarter than the Steelers
decision makers.
I mean, I think at this point, it's got to be Big Ben, right? Like, he's got to be the one pulling the strings a little. Like, listen, you can't draft the quarterback. I'm still here. You can't do that to me.
Well, they should have drafted an offensive lineman if you're Big Ben, right? Yeah, he could use a little protection because he'll be done very soon behind that.
Yeah, I didn't, when you're there amongst Steelers fans, you're like joking, like, oh, yeah, he looks pretty bad. Like, maybe get him out of there. We need somebody new. But then when you start seeing all the memes afterwards of the game and you realize, oh, he is really that. It was really bad to watch. Yeah, it is weird. Like, I thought Najee Harris was supposed to be like the next Le'Veon Bell or whatever.
Yeah, how did he look?
He didn't look good. So it's not going good for him at all. What you got? Scandal City? I want to go Scandal City.
Let's do it. Scandal City.
Boop, 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 boop. Scandal City.
We're taking on the Steelers here. It's kind of like a
this is
slash Scandal City. It's like both. So the scandal is, I think people are starting to turn on Ben. A lot of Steeler fans are ready to give up on Ben. I know you were reporting this with our mutual friend. I know it's been happening in other Steeler friend circles. Don't forget, the last time we saw the Steelers play prior to this season, they were getting their ass blown out by the Cleveland Browns, a franchise that they are used to embarrassing. And so now you're entering this season. Ben looks old. The running back is getting hit behind the line of scrimmage most of the time. The receivers are all hurt or not making plays because Ben's not throwing it down the field. Their defense is not what it used to be. They got burned by the Bengals. The scandal here is that Tomlin has lost the team. The scandal here is that the Steelers need to rebuild, and yet half their fan base is like clinging to this being a contention year when it's so obvious that they're done, and Ben is done, and I think Tomlin's done too. And it's just very scandalous to me how the fan base is split on it.
Now, do you think this is like something they could easily solve with a in-season trade? Like, would they ever trade Big Ben away? Because that would be definitely a big scandal for them. But
that'd be a great one.
Imagine trading
really
away
good value, like a 7th-round pick.
Like, imagine trading him away, and like, isn't Minshew out there, or maybe one of these rookies that aren't performing well? Maybe go get Zach Wilson. Be like, hey, we'll give you Big Ben. You guys can maybe do something good, and we'll give you a few other picks. You give us a rookie QB, because Zach Wilson isn't looking good.
Who's available? Tua is available. They're trying to get rid of Tua now. We've turned. Speaking of fan bases turning,
it seems like Deshaun might get tossed somewhere soon, right? Doesn't it seem like rumblings of like Eagles were in it? But I think Miami's like number one. They do not like Tua.
Definitely the Dolphins. We have sources close to J-Dog reporting that the Dolphins are closing in. It could happen as soon as this Monday, and it'd actually be a package trade where Tua would go to Washington for a 2nd-round pick as like a 3-way trade. And that pick goes to Washington as part of the assets, or goes to Houston. It's a weird situation where Deshaun is not suspended. The Texans don't want him to play for them right now, and he doesn't want to play there, so he's not playing, but he's not suspended. Where if he got traded to the Dolphins, he could conceivably play right away, and that might put some pressure on Goodell. Like, I don't know why when he's under investigation, when all these women are coming forward, he's not on some like suspension list, but he's not. So he can play. I don't know how a team gives up any amount of assets and draft picks for him when he's in this questionable situation.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but I think if you're desperate, or you see that, hey, we got Tua, we could hold on here for a little bit, or even whatever, Brissett, right? He's the backup over there. Like, maybe
he didn't look real good.
No, he didn't look good. But maybe he can hold the team together.
The Raiders aren't good. They're 3-0, but they're not good. Like, don't lose to them.
Raiders don't seem bad. I just think that it's a weird situation, but I think if you see value in it and you can get it, why not do it? If he's refusing to play for you, might as well take the assets and just like, all right, we're done. Let's see what we got next. So,
well, so far it's 3 first-round picks plus 3 more either 2nd-round picks or assets, and Tua would be like one of those assets. That's way too much to give for a guy who could be in jail, who could be suspended for years, who is an overall bad person until we hear more.
Yeah, but it's
very concerning.
But if you have a shot at doing it, don't you think you would take it? Like, this guy could possibly win you a Super Bowl, right?
No, you can't trade all those picks, because if he doesn't play for you, it's too risky. You're giving up way too much of your franchise. So I think you need to condition those picks where you get 3 first-round picks, but you only get these picks if he plays for us each season. He's got to play 1 season per first-round pick, or you can go back in time if the suspension is handed down and he misses multiple years, you void certain draft picks that are traded. That language has to be in there for me to be okay with any type of trade.
I like that. All right, you want to do best bets? I got best bets, and a big announcement here. We went 5-0 last week.
Wow.
5-0, made some money. We're looking good. Now, we were supposed to record yesterday. We didn't record. I did have the Jags on there at +7.5. So that obviously already hit. So we can add another game if we want, but I had the Jags up there. They look great. If you watch that Thursday night game, they looked kind of good.
Watch those Thursday night games, Mike. They're not good games, and when it's Jags Bengals, we don't watch. We're gonna start watching when it goes to Fox next week. We're gonna start watching because the games get better.
Trevor Lawrence didn't look that bad. He was running a lot for his life, but he was throwing the ball, moving around. They scored 14 points without Cincinnati doing the damn thing. So I had the Jags in there.
They still lost.
They
covered,
lost, right? But they did cover. All right,
so next game. This, you rushed past it. You're 5-0 last week. How are you so good? What was your strategy last week? Remind me.
Well, last week what we've been doing now, we've been talking on Monday, like fresh in our minds. You don't get any information during the week because during the week you get like podcasts and news and all this stuff. It's like what is our original thought about the game? Where do we want to go with it? And we didn't change our picks. We stuck to the 5 picks. We almost changed it on Saturday morning. We're like, oh, maybe we should move something over here. Kept it. We were good. 5-0. Felt good. Third week in. It was great.
Because that buys you some 1 and 4 weeks. They're bound to happen, and now you won't be splitting them as much because those are going to come and you're going to be okay. I just want to mention the Thursday night slate is getting so much better. We've been subjected to terrible games. Next week, Rams Seahawks, great game. The following week, Bucks Eagles, interesting game. Broncos, Browns, 2 winning teams. Packers, Cardinals. They're getting so much better, and it's so funny to me how they crushed the first 3 Thursday night games.
I know, it's so bad.
Like, intentionally. Like, why would you tank those?
Well, NFL Network's hard to find. It's hard. Like if you don't have it or you don't usually go to that channel, it's not like, oh yeah, it's on NFL Network tonight. No, it's like,
but they're trying to grow it. It's the league
know.
owns it. Like, you think you'd ratchet that up. All right, let's hear
All
4
right.
more. You're gonna go 4-0 after going 1.
We hope. Baltimore at Denver. I'm taking Denver -1. Baltimore has been on the road 3 of the last 4 games. All games have been huge wins for Baltimore. Like the kick last week, the 66-yard kick.
Oh my gosh,
which won them the game. They're traveling to altitude. They're going to Denver. Denver has an advantage when people go play in altitude. It is tough to run around. It's tough to catch your breath. People are still out of shape in the first 4 weeks of football. I'm taking Denver. I think it's at -1. Could be better at this point, but that was at the beginning of the week. I like Denver -1 playing at home against Baltimore. I think that Denver looks good. Teddy two gloves covers.
I'm not afraid to bet against Baltimore. Lamar's been missing practice. They could have a much different record if they lost some of these close games, like the Tucker kick. They should have lost to Detroit, right?
Yeah.
What are you seeing in Denver that makes you want to bet them? Because they haven't beaten a good team. They've beaten like the Jets and the Panthers. You got Teddy back there, who you've always been a fan of, but you're not really a fan of because he's like the 25th best quarterback in the league. So what makes you bet on them?
I think it's what we've been trying to do is bet games that a lot of people don't want to bet or that it looks a little weird. Baltimore, big public team right now, like huge wins. Everybody's talking about Baltimore. I think it's hard to back such a big public team. Like we were going to talk, Tampa and playing Patriots. Like that's a really hard team to bet on because I feel like the public is so on the Bucs. It's like, obviously they're going to win. It's like the line is so high. But it's only week 4. Like we're going week 4. We don't really know what these teams are. I know Baltimore and Denver both 3-0. Somebody's going to come out a loser here, right?
That's not true. The Ravens lost to the Raiders.
All right, Raiders,
that Monday night game?
They lost. Okay,
They're
so big games.
They should be 3-0.
Yes. Yeah. So big games. I just think Denver here can outplay them with. I think the altitude plays a big factor, and also the road game, the travel that Baltimore has been doing, and the emotional like stress on them. It's a lot. Like when you're traveling around, you get kind of exhausted. Even if you're just flying somewhere and you land. Do you not when you fly somewhere, do you not get tired? Like when you fly west, you're like kind of tired. Yeah. Like even though I didn't do anything.
Rest a little. Yeah.
It's tough. So
I just don't like betting. I don't like betting on the Broncos. The Broncos have beaten Mike. The 3 I want to say these are the 3 worst teams, right?
I know.
In football. Did you see who they beat? The Giants,
yes,
the Jaguars, and the Jets. You can't name me a worse team than those 3 teams. And that's all they've beaten. They could be 0-3 if they just had a different schedule, and you probably wouldn't be betting them. I can't support this.
I know. All right, next game. Seattle at the 49ers. I'm taking Seattle here +3. This is the divisional dog. They're on the road in San Francisco. This is a good bounce back spot for Seattle. They got to get a win. They cannot be at the bottom of the division right now. They're at the bottom of the barrel. Arizona's better. 49ers are better. The Rams are better. They cannot do this. This is a must-win game. You're giving me 3 points. I'm taking the dogs here. Easy. Now, they might cover, but they might not win. So I'm just hoping for the cover here. It's a tough game. They always play San Francisco really close. Like a lot of those games are always like within a field goal or 1 point or whatever it is.
It's a fun division. I love when they match up because all 4 teams are unique and they have good offenses and they're fun to watch. I was big on the Packers beating the Niners last week. You didn't have it in best bets, and I forced it in. I forced a 6-1 in, and it was mine, and I nailed it. I knew Rodgers would win that game. The Niners are going lucky. What?
It's like
the Niners. What are they doing? Because all the running backs are hurt. They got Brandon Ayuk in the doghouse after he had a big game or a big season last year. Jimmy G. He's like getting a lot of criticism, and Trey Lance is there, and then they're bringing Lance in. They're dysfunctional right now. They're dysfunctional. I like Seattle to be better than they've been playing. Their defense is broken. I don't know what they're doing in Seattle. I don't know what Pete Carroll's doing, but I think they'll be okay in the long run, and it starts this week. I like them.
Yeah, they just got to let Russ cook. They got to go for it. I think their defense is a little lacking somewhere, like, Minnesota. Like they're
giving up a lot of points,
Yeah, it's not looking good. So they got to score more points and obviously let the other team. But I don't think Garoppolo is that good. So, Seattle there. Now, this next one, this was tough. I really didn't want to take it, but I feel like it's the right move. Kansas City has been on a slump the last few weeks, right? There have been They lost to the Chargers, mismanaged stuff. KC
They're 1-2.
I know. KC minus 6.5 at Philly. I think this is a good bounce back spot. It is really tough. You know, like there's a stat out there. I think they haven't covered their last 11 games. So this is a big one. The Chiefs.
They're that many?
That many. They have not covered.
I didn't know that.
So it's obviously inflated line. Philly, not that good. I don't think they're that good.
No.
Right? They did not look that good. I'm just taking the Patrick Mahomes rage inside of him to go win this game. Like they should blow them out. This is what I want out of him.
They've lost 2 games and they've both been so close to good teams.
Yes.
The Ravens and Chargers, 2 teams that are in 2 of the best quarterbacks, 2 of the best teams in the league. I'm not worried about the Chiefs. I'm surprised you're taking them because you never take a road favorite that big, 6.5. That's not your style. I know your style and it's not you.
I know.
But I love it because the Eagles are fraudulent. I mean, you lose to some of the teams they're losing to. Atlanta recently, who they lose to last week? Dallas. They got embarrassed at home on Monday Night Football.
Dallas might be good. We don't know yet. But they look okay.
No, Dallas is good. I'm just saying you can't get embarrassed on Monday Night Football. Like, it's coming for 6 months.
I know.
Play well there.
I know. All right, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah,
I'm glad you like it. Okay, good.
That Chiefs-Chargers game was super fun. I mean, I think we're downplaying. I don't know if you have the Chargers in here. We're downplaying how good Justin Herbert is.
He's good.
For him to go up against Mahomes in Kansas City, throw for 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like, do you know how sick I am that the Dolphins drafted Tua over Herbert? That makes me literally sick.
He's so good. He's so good. And he just came off the bench and I'm good. Here we go. Let's go play. All right, next one. I don't know if you watched the Detroit game, but Detroit at Chicago, Detroit +3. Brutal loss.
This should be one of those Thursday night NFL Network games.
This is a brutal loss for Detroit. I think Jared Goff is playing pretty well. They're a feisty team. They're scoring points, keeping games close. I like Detroit +3. Justin Fields, I don't know what they're doing, but I don't know if you saw that meme going around how Mitch Trubisky should be in the NFL Hall of Fame because of what the coach is doing to these 3 quarterbacks here. Like they can't even move the ball, negative yards, but Mitch Trubisky took them all the way to the playoffs. These guys can't move the ball or win a game. I think Chicago's a terrible coach team, and I think Detroit now might have a decent coach, and they look good. So I love it. Give me the points on the road. I'm taking it. Detroit +3.
I'm not sure about the Lions coach, but Goff's playing better. They got a decent roster. And then you look at the Bears, and you're right. Dan Orlovsky, the best analyst on TV right now, he was ripping Nagy on Monday morning, saying he either did it intentionally because he wants Fields to look bad, which makes no sense because they traded up to take him. But maybe he's an Andy Dalton guy, and he wants Dalton to look better. Something's going on there. Why is Nagy still there? The Bears have been so bad with Trubisky. Why did Nagy get another chance with a new rookie quarterback? We had a clean slate to start over, and they didn't. And it's really hurting Allen Robinson in fantasy.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Chicago. It looks like a mess. I'm not worried this week. I think Detroit will easily cover this. Too easy. That's it. That's all I got for the picks. We're not finalized on these yet, but we did bet Jags last night. So we won some money, but we didn't put them in the contest.
Mike, early in the season, you went Dolphins. I can't help but notice after the disappointment, you're off.
Well, after Tua's gone, I felt like, I don't know if we can continue.
There's no value in Jacoby?
No, I don't think so. What do you think? I mean, tell me about Jacoby.
I'm just sad, and I need Watson because we can't have Herbert at this point, and I'm not proud of that. Can I do a big dick energy before we go?
Do some big dick energy. Big dick energy.
Sean McVay has a big dick because he's 40-0 when he leads at halftime, which is insane in the NFL. Teams are so good in the second half. This guy, look out for this when you're watching a Rams game. They try to be aggressive and run up the score in the first half because he knows that they will win the second half if they go into the locker room with a lead. So apparently he's been doing a ton of pass attempts. If that helps you in any first half overs or first half passing yards, take the over there, knowing they'll run the ball, play good defense in the second half, and win the game.
I like it. I like the big. I mean, the Rams look great. Just taking. Hold on, my car alarm is going off for some reason. Okay.
Maybe it's being stolen as we
I think it's good. But I think what McVay has been doing with Stafford, it's like Stafford all of a sudden is like an elite quarterback. He went from being on Detroit, being like, Stafford, whatever, getting injured, throwing the ball. But now all of a sudden he's revitalized. Who knew this would have happened? All of a sudden you have a competent quarterback and he's amazing. After years of just being in the hidden Detroit world. It's crazy.
Well, it makes sense. I think we talked about this before, but like take any random plumber who doesn't make good money in Detroit, who like hates his job and is just going through the motions each day because that's what you do. So many humans do it every day.
Yeah.
And then you get a promotion and you get to move to LA and you get people saying, you're the greatest. You're going to be my guy. We're going to buy into what you're doing here with the plumbing situation. And he's going to your house instead of the shitty houses in Detroit. Like he's going to be just a happier guy and he's going to perform better. And that's what we're seeing with Stafford, just on a much higher level.
I love it. I love it. All right. Check out the sportshangover.com. We have great swag up there. J-Dog up there for hire.
Minister for hire. Are you getting married? Are you recently engaged? Some of our listeners might be. Congrats, Jackie. I'm available to officiate your wedding. It's a small to moderate price point, but we can do a great job with it.
Yeah. Get the shirt. I love it. It's just like a nice blur, huge photo of J-Dog at the altar marrying myself. So
I'm going to wear it every weekend.
Good.
It's just like put my phone number on the back. It'll be great.
All right. Sportshangover.com. If we don't get arrested, molested, or abused. Hopefully we are back next week.